And welcome to KBLP LLC with Encounters of the Strange Kind. And as you notice, we're doing some experimental music tonight. It's royalty free. Thank you to Michelle for turning me on to this site. Interesting music, and I think it kind of fits the Encounters theme. So thanks, Michelle, for that. I hope you all enjoy that. Some of it's kind of creepy. Definitely interesting. So anyway, and today KBLP LLC is celebrating our 2-year anniversary. So happy anniversary, KBLP LLC, and all the podcasters: Chris, Michelle, Ike, Stephen, Desiree, Sonia, Gary, Cecilia, Lisa. So congrats to everybody. I'm surprised I'm still here, actually, but here I am. And tonight we're going to be talking about some strange things, underground monsters. I don't know, I think underground is kind of the most creepiest type of monsters, because you know, you're trapped underground, tunnels, caves, etc. So what would you do if you encountered something underground? I don't know, I'd probably die under there, probably. But a lot of us never think about the fact that below our feet, beneath the world of light and civilization, of course, lurks a whole other world altogether. One of cold, eternal darkness, a stranger to the sun. Down in these black depths of the earth exist vast caverns and caves that most people aren't even aware of that they exist. And there are reports that these are not necessarily empty spaces either, devoid of life. It seems there possibly exist some strange monsters down there in deep places of the earth, which shuffle about and stalk the never-ending night, and even once in a while poking up for their hidden lairs into our world to baffle and terrify you. So I hope you're ready for this. And when talking about underground monsters, you might wonder whether there is any sort of mystery giant worms, okay, tremors, exactly, prowling about in the wilds. And the answer is, according to some reports, of course, yes, there is. If you've seen the movie Tremors, yes, then you might know what I mean. And there is said to be a cryptid in the remote areas of South America that is very much like this. It's called, literally, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, Minohaco. Means big earthworm in Portuguese. I do not speak Portuguese, so I probably butchered it, but we'll call it the big earthworm. This creature is described as an absolutely enormous worm-like beast, measuring from 75 feet up to an astounding 150 feet long, which burrows through the earth and feeds on anything it can catch walking above. Oh, that's nice. Some added details are that it has black skin, small eyes, a pair of tentacles on its mouth or head, and an array of large, sharp teeth within its maw. The creature is so massive it is believed to leave huge trenches in its wake, which sometimes collapses to send houses and other structures tumbling down into the ground. And there are various reports of it sucking animals down, like dogs, cats, livestock, such as cows. And one of the first accounts of the big earthworm appeared in the 1800s. How about that? In an article in the American Journal of Science, in which naturalist Auguste de Saint-Hilaire brought forth some alarming cases of cattle being pulled into the earth or underwater by some vast worm in the province, often right before the eyes of startled witnesses. In 1877, the German publication, basically a zoological garden, featured an article by a zoologist who gave an 1840 account of one of the beasts in Rio dos Papagaios. Oh, said that. Don't expect me to say it again, though. And here is the account. A black woman going to draw water from a pool near a house one morning saw a short distance off an animal which she described as being as large as a house, moving off along the ground. In the same district, a young man saw a huge pine suddenly overturned. He found the surrounding earth in movement and an enormous worm-like black animal in the middle of it. About 25 meters long, with 2 horns on its head. That is the account that was given. And in addition to the numerous instances of strange trenches dug through the ground and anomalous trembling of the earth, in conjunction with the sighting of these big earthworms, the article also mentions a 1849 report of a dead big earthworm that was supposedly found stuck in some rocks near Uruguay. The carcass was described as having rough skin like tree bark, scales like those of an armadillo, and in 1870 Mueller claimed that there had been a sighting in Brazil when a person apparently saw a massive legless creature with a pig-like snout lying on the back of the Rio das Caveiras. The bizarre creature then proceeded to disappear into the ground while leaving a trench behind. Mueller would go out to investigate these claims, and he did not find the creature he sought. He did come across those unexplained trenches dug through the earth as if by some large serpentine animal of some sort. The creature was sporadically sighted in later years as well, and accounts, of course, were exceedingly rare, and reports are more not so existent in modern times. Of course, there's always theories about these as to what these creatures could have been. A cryptozoologist speculated that the big earthworm was perhaps some sort of undiscovered giant caecilian. These are limbless amphibians that look very much like earthworms, and believe it or not, they're native to the regions where they were seen. Another cryptozoologist wrote in his masterpiece, On the Track of Unknown Animals, that the creature could perhaps be a surviving population of giant prehistoric armadillo. Then, of course, there is the idea this could be something totally new altogether. And with the lack of modern sightings, does it exist? Hopefully we'll find out someday, if it ever existed at all. And while the thought of a giant carnivorous underground worm is quite disturbing enough, the idea of underground demon bats is probably just as bad. Yeah, I'd say so, demon bats, yeah. From the jungles in West Africa, as well as the Republic of Congo, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, there have been long reports of giant bats with black skin, huge serrated teeth, and 12-foot wingspans. Yeah, I don't want to come across that. Thank you. They're more commonly known as cave demons. These mysterious giant bats are said to spew forth from underground caves at night to prowl the land in search of prey, which is basically anything they can catch. So don't be walking alone around out there. So the demon bats. By far, the most well-known account of the demon bat was given by a cryptozoologist, Sanderson, who had his own encounter with one of the creatures while out in the field studying hammer-headed fruit bats in southern Cameroon. This was in 1932. Sanderson claimed Sanderson claimed that he was set upon by an enormous bat, which he estimated at being 4 times bigger than the fruit bats he was after, and he dubbed it the granddaddy of all bats. It gave him quite a fright, and when he asked the local guides about it, they fearfully told him that it had been a demon bat, that it had come from a nearby cave, and it was best they get inside, as there would sure be more not far behind. A similar bat-like cave dweller was investigated. I don't know if you've seen this show. It's called Underground Monsters, actually. It's I don't think it's as good as some of them, but they try, I guess. And they investigated on the show Underground Monsters, in which they went into an underground cavern complex in Flagstaff, Arizona. In the U.S., of course. These were called the Volcano Cavern Demon Bats. The episode rather dramatically shows the team hearing unexplained noises within the caves and picking up anomalous heat signature readings in the murk, shortly, of course, before their night vision gives out, leaving them to panic. There is an account covered on the TV series Lost Tapes also, which features an account of the underground bat monsters in the caves of Tora Bora in Afghanistan, supposedly given by a unit of U.S. Marines who described being attacked by a nest of humanoid bat creatures while exploring the area in 2002. Unfortunately, like many other cryptid hunting shows, the whole thing in both cases, of course, is for, excuse me, maximum spooky effect, and we're not, of course you're not sure, true or not. But perhaps some of the scariest reports of subterranean monsters are those that are only what can be described as some sort of mysterious humanoid creatures that apparently dwell down in the gloom under our feet. One such report comes from a publication called Chase Post in 2007. It printed an article that linked a rash of Bigfoot and werewolf sightings in the area of Cannock Chase, England, to what they describe as a tribe of subterranean creatures. And this is what the newspaper had to say, and I quote, "The strangest rumor has come from a senior local resident who believes the mysterious intruders to be subterranean. And he told us the creatures have made their way to the surface via old earthworks to hunt, for example, local deer." And another account of apparently ravenous underground creatures, there's a very bizarre account from the July 14th, 1974 edition of News Extra, which reads something like a horror movie, of course. "Hi, Ike. Happy anniversary, Ike. Glad you're here. Yay for us. Yeah, two. We're starting to get old, right? Two. But according to an article in 1944, a mining inspector's report filed by Inspector Barger claimed that 15 miners had been eaten alive by some sort of humanoid monster down in the dank mines of Dixonville, Pennsylvania. Woohoo! Oh yeah. And check out the music. See what you think. It's kind of experimental music, but I thought it would be kind of cool to use. This is in Dixonville, Pennsylvania, I might add. They claim that 15 miners had been eaten alive after a cave-in. When rescuers arrived, they found the horrific sight of mutilated bodies, as if by a fierce wild animal. And it was enough to keep anyone from ever using the mine again. And apparently, of course, this was all kept under wraps for decades before being brought to our attention by Barger's son, Frank. So, again, it's things that they don't want us to know. And according to the unsettling original report, Barger had been summoned by the mining company to find out what happened to the vanished men. And together with another inspector, the two penetrated down into the darkness and eventually found the bodies of the miners, who had been mauled by some sort of powerful creature. Barger would say of the first corpse they stumbled across in the gloom, that man wasn't killed by any cave-in. He must have been killed by some sort of animal. Of course, that was obvious. They would find the rest of the bodies all in the same state of being savaged, and with still others nowhere to be found. And as horrifying as all this was, things got worse when the two rescuers also suffered a cave-in and got stuck there in the mine along with the dead bodies and whatever had killed them. They waited for rescuers to come get them. Barger claimed to have taken a nap to awaken to something there with them. And they described it as a shadowy humanoid beast. And here he quotes, and I quote him, "I fell asleep for a time. It wasn't long. Suddenly I felt a hot breath on my face. That thing wasn't of this world. We sat silently reflecting on our fate. I swear I expected something slimy to drag the both of us away." He would later even speculate that whatever it had been, it had intentionally caused the cave-in to trap them in there. And it had probably done the same thing to the dead miners. It was, in this case, whatever it was, ultimately decided to leave them alone to slink away. And rescuers reportedly came through a few hours later. So, true or not, we don't know. You have to wonder if there's anything to some of these stories. But why would inspectors lie? I don't know, but of course. And it was kept under wraps for decades before his son brought it to everybody's attention. So there you go. Here's one from McAlester, Oklahoma. Another rather ominous account, which supposedly took place right before the Korean War. Three men supposedly went exploring in a cavern in the area beneath what was described as a haunted mound, where all manner of strange phenomena allegedly occurred, including ghost lights, cattle mutilations, and missing people and livestock. The three unidentified men apparently pushed into the cavern to find a stone staircase that disappeared down into a bottomless shaft, which they descended down for about a mile with no bottom in sight. The three explorers began to worry about whether they'd ever find their way back and headed back up the precarious stairway, of course. They managed to make it up, at least two of them did, when they heard a scream from the third down below, followed by a gunshot. The third man soon came scrambling up out of the dark, white with fear and shaking. He had explained to the others he had been coming up the stairway behind them when hairy animal men had pounced upon him and attacked him. He showed them some yellowish liquid on his clothes that claimed had come from one of the creatures he had shot. And that was enough to send them all on their way out as fast as they could. And in our modern times, there seems no end to our relentless push into the wilds of our planet. The places where mysterious creatures can hide are shrinking day by day in our insatiable drive to conquer our planet. Which is so true, so sad too. However, one frontier seems to remain rather well hidden from our eyes, and that is the domain of the dark that meanders beneath us. What secrets, curiosities, and wonders do these subterranean worlds hold? What creatures call them home? It's hard to know for sure, but when reading these reports, such as we've heard here, it seems that there is still possibly much that remains hidden from us, and things that stalk about in the inky black where few of us dare to tread. Would anybody out there go looking for some cave creatures? Just wondering if you would. I don't know if I would. That's kind of close quarters. You can't really walk anywhere. I mean, there's no place to run to, is what I'm trying to say. Not walk anywhere, but there's, where are you going to run to? There's only one way in, usually, and one way out. So, I don't know. I don't think I'd like to encounter any underground monsters, personally. What about you guys? Don't know. Nope, you... That was quick. Quick answer. Ike? Yep. Nope. Yeah, that you only have one way in, one way out. Yeah, that kind of not cool to me either. And I have an update now a little later. Would you go down? Yeah. Would you go down there, Ike? Would you go underground? I think about The Descent, the movie The Descent. Yeah, that kind of spooks me. Would you go underground, though, Ike? I don't know. I would probably go in, like, my idea of going exploring would be like in the pyramids or something. I'm not going underground, though. I don't know. The Paris catacombs, I might go to the Paris catacombs. Yeah, would you like? Yeah? Oof, I don't know. I'd be afraid of caving or something, but I would go to the Paris catacombs. What about you guys? Would you go to the Paris catacombs? I would go there, definitely. So, we'll talk about the Paris catacombs in a bit. And of course, happy birthday to us. Hi, Michelle. I know that you. You wouldn't involve anything that involves climbing. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I know. I think I'd go to the Paris Catacombs. I think that's the only place I'd go, though. That would be really interesting to see. And of course, tunnels are inherently spooky places to begin with. Dark, claustrophobic, damp, moldy, and old. Hi. And old, there's a certain sense of foreboding and unsettling atmosphere about these places that disturbs us on an almost primal level. And they make perfect locations for scary tales, of course. Like I said, you want to explore? Yeah, yeah. I'd go to the Paris Catacombs. I'm not going underground in any cave, so thank you very much. I think of the movie The Descent. You know? Yeah. Come on, Tori, you can do it. Yeah, I think of the movie The Descent, and that was downright creepy. Yep, no thank you. I'd have to sacrifice somebody. Anyway, these places where mysteries reign and where we feel somehow out of place and alone, no matter who's with you. Tunnels may already seem unwelcoming and forbidding enough. There are on occasion reports that allow them to live up to their full potential of eeriness, and here we have accounts that seem to suggest something prowling about there in the inky black of these enclosed spaces, lurking and waiting there in the eternal gloom. If that doesn't spook you, I don't know what will. While wandering through a tunnel may invoke image of ghosts and monsters, here's a few reports that show these fears may be well-founded indeed. This was in 1978 in Toronto, Canada. Very strange. Here within the dark confines of the various networks of tunnels and caves, under this sprawling metropolis, a 51-year-old man, only known as Ernest, had a strange and frightening encounter in August. The witness claims he had been out searching the neighborhood for a missing kitten from a litter he had been raising with his wife, and he stumbled across a tunnel entrance and decided to go get a flashlight and investigate where it led, and perhaps even find his missing kitten in the process. He claims that he penetrated around 10 feet into the murk and suddenly came across a creature that looked somewhat like a long and thin monkey about 3 feet in height, with large teeth and covered in gray fur. The unsettling eyes, which peered out of the darkness from deep sockets, were described as being bright orange and slanted. And to make the whole ordeal even more horrific, Ernest reported that the creature spoke to him. And this is what he said of the odd events. And I quote, "I saw a living nightmare that I'll never forget. It said, 'Go away, go away, go away.'" Probably Gollum, in a hissing voice. Then it took off down a long tunnel off to the side. I got out of there as fast as I could. I was shaking with fear. That is Ernest's account. Sounds like Gollum, my precious. Right? Okay, go away, go away. But anyway, Ernest would later grudgingly tell the Toronto Sun newspaper of his experience after being encouraged by a friend to do so. But he refrained from getting his last name out of fear. He didn't want to be ridiculed and whatever, and people traipsing all over the place, of course. Staff from the Sun newspaper went as far as to accompany Ernest to the location in March of 1979. And, of course, they found indeed there was an entrance to a cave at the end of a passageway between houses that led into a narrow tunnel that dropped off. Okay, cool. Oh, I don't use twit, whatever. I got enough to do. I don't need to do that. Anyway, this passageway led into a narrow tunnel that dropped off into a gloom sharply and was surmised to lead to the unseen sewer system down below. When they investigated down below, they didn't see any strange creature, but they did find the main carcass of a cat half buried in the ground. When sewer now listen to this. Yeah, in a way, but we're not really going there. That's for another day. When sewer officials were questioned about what Ernest had perhaps seen, an employee gave this rather ominous statement, and I quote, "People who work on the surface don't know what it's like down there. It's a whole different world. Who would have thought that a few years ago that people would live in sewers? And yet that's what they found in New York a few years back. I don't know what Ernest saw down there. I'll tell you one thing. If we could get in there, I sure as hell wouldn't want to go down alone." The so-called Cabbagetown Tunnel Monster is truly bizarre in that no other such report like it has come in. And it's hard to say what the creature in question could possibly be, especially considering that it allegedly spoke to him. Concerning the witness himself, friends and family said Ernest was honest and reliable, not prone to making up tall tales. And the Sun reporters agreed who interviewed him. He was honestly scared and reluctant to tell his tale. What did he see down there? Maybe we may never know. Our one idea of what the Cabbagetown Tunnel Monster could have been was not a tunnel dweller per se, but rather some cryptid from above ground taking refuge or shelter within the tunnel. Yeah, I don't think so. It has long had accounts from the natives of a race of smallish, hairy humanoids. Okay, so they don't actually live in tunnels, so these creatures live above ground and go into the tunnels. It's still not human, right? They're humanoids that inhabit areas near waterways. And these were called the Memgwizi. Okay, and perhaps something like this could have found a home down in the tunnel. There have certainly been other reports of strange creatures apparently taking shelter in such places. Excuse me. Get the book, Monsters of Illinois, Mysterious Creatures in the Prairie State. So get that book. An odd case was mentioned in that book. It's by Troy Taylor. In May of 1963, there was a rash of sightings of a strange, hairy wild man in the area of Centerville and the outskirts of St. Louis, Illinois. The sightings started in May and it escalated until the police claimed, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Chud. Exactly, yes. You got it. But there's a rash of sightings of a strange hairy man in the area of Centerville. The sightings started on May 9th and escalated until the police claimed they were getting around 50 calls a night from people who claimed to have seen the beast, sometimes right in their yards and within at least one report of the creature attacking a man. Some reports mention that the fierce and bizarre beast had a habit of disappearing down into the sewers or tunnels. And one such report came from a group of kids who claimed that a creature that looked half man, half woman, and with half bald head and half a head of hair was often seen lurking around a housing project on 9th Street and had a habit of plunging down into a tunnel on 12th Street. The sightings did drop off, and by the end of the month, meaning we will probably never know what these people saw. Just as weird was a report that appeared in March 81 edition of the New Valley Dispatch of PA. According to an article by Michael Burke entitled Green Thing Sparks Rumors, a group of youth exploring near Kensington, PA, sighted a reptilian 4-foot-tall dinosauroid humanoid with a thin tail emerging from a sewer tunnel. The teens then allegedly chased the strange beast, with one of them apparently grabbing the creature's tail, before its startled screech forced the boy to let go, and it scurried away back down into the darkness. Was this another cryptid that was using the sewer system and tunnels as a hiding place? The appearance of the creature in question, that of some sort of reptilian humanoid, often called reptoids, it's a bizarre aspect of it. But interestingly, it's not the only report of such creatures utilizing tunnels for inscrutable purposes. Okay? And indeed, many reports of tunnel monsters seem to involve something decidedly reptilian in nature. One breathtakingly outlandish report of such an entity lurking underground comes from, now this is 2008, when a woman from Anaheim, California, near Los Angeles, was out walking her dog when she came across a greenish creature staring up at her from down in a sewer drain. The woman claimed she had then backed away as the beast began to crawl out into the night towards her. Pennywise is alive and well in Anaheim, apparently. The witness frantically ran away to jump into the bed of a truck, after which she called her boyfriend in their nearby apartment, explained what was happening, and begging for help. As she spoke to him, it seems like other similar creatures began to pile out of the sewer and gather around the truck that she was cowering in, and she was screaming in horror. At that instant, the boyfriend came onto the scene armed with a golf club, which he swung wildly at the alien creatures as he shouted at the top of his lungs. This apparently was enough to cause the strange intruders to flee back down into the sewer, and the boyfriend would describe them as being very large reptilian with big, sharp teeth. The following night, the couple apparently heard strange, unearthly screams out in the dark, and when they went to investigate the next morning, they found the carcass of some animal that had been brutally maimed and mutilated beyond recognition. And that was enough to prompt them to move away from the area. The location is interesting, as there was another odd report in the 1930s in the LA Times. A geological engineer named G. Warren Schufelt claimed to have uncovered a vast warren of tunnels under LA and its surrounding vicinity, which he believed to be the ruins of a lost civilization of reptilian beings. In another report from the UFO.about.com, a witness from Missouri claimed to have come across some reptoids in March of 2004. The identified witness claimed he was out with a friend riding ATVs at a massive underground storage facility known locally simply as the Underground. This apparently consists of a spiderweb network of tunnels and caves that serves as storage for the Navy, and also as a fallout shelter that can supposedly house nearly 50,000 people. There you go. That is in Carthage, Missouri, guys. According to the witness, they had decided to go riding into the caves and eventually finding themselves 8 miles deep into the network with no end in sight. At this point, they allegedly saw a sign reading Naval Authoritative Zone, but they kept going on right past it. Now, here we go. Michelle, are you listening to this? After the sign, the walls were said to be smoother and the ground paved and painted with a strange pattern. They first took it as to be graffiti left behind. Not long after this, they claimed they passed through some sort of holographic projection on the cave wall and found themselves in a new section with an intricate road system, which seemed very old to them. The area was also described as having a strange damp odor pervading the air. The lights had dimmed and the temperature had dropped significantly. The witnesses then noticed a pair of bizarre creatures standing around 30 feet away, which were described as looking like large, powerfully built bipedal reptiles of some sort. One of the creatures was apparently 7 feet tall and reddish in color, while the other was 6 feet tall and a pale whitish color. The unsettling sight elicited a scream from one of the witnesses, which caused one of the creatures to come towards them. The two tore off on their ATVs, plunging back through the hologram, even as the bigger of the entities gave chase with frightening speed. One of the witnesses says that when he looked back, he could see that thing had raised its arm, which was tipped with a clawed hand holding some sort of device, which it fired to hit one of the ATVs, and it caused the engine to abruptly die. And the witness would say of the chase, and I quote, "We passed through the wall projection, and I looked back and saw the thing raise its arm, and it had a weapon of some sorts. It fired and hit the ATV my friend was on. The engine died and he stopped. I told him to jump on and he did. I gunned it and then my friend said, 'Stop.' I slowed down and he said, 'Look.' I looked back and the thing had stopped at the graffiti on the cave floor." The ATV was on its side of the graffiti symbol. It was obvious the thing would not cross the markings. I slowed more. We were now about 75 feet away. I stopped, and the three of us, me, my friend, and the reptile man, just looked at each other for about 15 seconds. And let me tell you, that is a long time. Then I started to leave. It stayed there waiting and not moving until we were totally out of sight. As soon as we cleared the cave, I got my cell phone out and called the sheriff's department. And of course, as usual, the call did not do much good, according to the witnesses. The sheriff's department allegedly simply told them underground security would handle it, and hung up. And this underground security then converged upon them almost immediately, and the puzzling case then takes on a rather ominous conspiratorial vibe, with the witness saying of what happened next. Sounds shades of Area 51. No, we might have to delve more into this one at a later show, okay? And the witness quote, and I quote, "We were told to leave, not to tell anybody about this, that if I came back, the Navy would press charges. I was also told that I had 10 minutes to leave or I would be taken in. What can I say? We left. It has been 3 days since this has happened, and I'm still shaken. I am a pretty big person, 6'4" and 265, and I have never in my life been afraid for my life until this past Sunday. I lost one of my 2 ATVs. As far as I know, it's still in there. My friend will not talk about it, and I have not heard anything from anyone about it. I did call the sheriff's department, and they said they never got a call from me." Well, that's my story. I have never, ever had anything strange happen in my life, and I'm very concerned about this. I can tell you this, I really had an urge to kill the things I saw down there. I don't know if that's a natural reaction, as most people have toward a natural revulsion towards reptiles, or because of my faith in the feeling of evil. All I know is that they are real, and I wish I could do something, anything to combat or help against these things. Take care, and thank you for letting me write and share this experience. So we're talking shades of Area 51 here, where they converge upon them and more or less threaten them. So, I'm not quite sure what to make of this myself. Wow. And that was in, where did I say that was? Can you imagine? It's an underground, basically, bunker. This is from Carthage, Missouri. Might have to check that out, see what's going on there. We're going to delve a little more into that, I think. Crazy, huh? I don't know. There's, at shades of Area 51, threaten you, that kind of thing. Roswell, same thing. So, hiding experiments down there or what? We won't know for sure. Apparently they sure don't want anybody there. So, might have to make a pilgrimage up there as well. Okay. Here, another, almost equally as completely, yet oddly compelling, is a subterranean reptoid report sent in to the Phantoms and Monsters website by a witness from Austria, calling himself Gregor, who claimed to be a trained geologist and told a deeply weird tale indeed. And here we go. According to this Gregor, in May of 2000, this is 2011 now, this is recent, he was exploring a narrow cave in the foothills near the east bank of Hallstatter Lake when he began to hear voices in the dark. At first he dismissed it, of course, you're hearing things, whatever. His mind playing tricks on him, or an auditory phenomenon that was going on caused by the caves. But they continued, only stopping when he halted to listen. He continued crawling through the tightening passage until he came to a more open area where the walls were smooth and which was redolent with a strange rotting smell. Oddly, the ground had a red iridescence to it when he shone his flashlight over it. And then he heard the voices again. The witness would say of what happened next, and I quote, "At this point, I was terrified and started to hurry back through the narrow cave. After I squeezed back several meters, I was able to turn my head just enough to look back into the dark chamber. A yellow light slowly made its way into the chamber from the left opening. Then there were several yellow lights following the first. As the lights moved through the opening into the chamber, then back through the opening on the right, I was able to see the beings. The sight sent fear throughout my body. I was actually paralyzed. The creatures were humanoid in stature, but these were not human. Each varied in height, but all looked the same. Muscular lizards that walked upright like humans. There is not a better term I can use to identify these beings. These creatures wore dark, colored, full-body uniforms that extended and covered the feet. I couldn't tell the exact color of the skin, but each had a pronounced muzzle. The long tails were very prominent and swiftly swayed back and forth as they moved. The arms and legs were massive. I could detect the musculature through the uniforms. There were voices also, as if they were talking to each other. Their voices actually sounded human, though I could not detect the language. There were possibly 20 or more of these creatures as they walked single file in through one chamber and into another. Greger reported that he got out of there as fast as he could, and he claimed that he was in such shock that the trip back to his office he doesn't remember. He was in a daze. When he was in a safe place, he apparently wrote down the details of the whole experience in his journal. Again, what are we to make of this? Are they interdimensional beings of some sort? What do you guys think? Stickler himself speculated this could have been some sort of time slip, with the scene being from some point in the past or future. Who knows, right? Could they be interdimensional beings? Possibly. Are there experiments going on down there we have known nothing about, such as in Missouri? Could it be possible? Anything's possible, right? Another case, of course, which is hard to categorize. This originates in the rugged Cascade Mountains of Washington, again in the U.S., where there is a long abandoned train tunnel called the Cascade Tunnel. There reportedly dwells a hulking beast with shining yellow eyes. One account of this creature was written of in Brad Steiger's book, Real Monsters, Gruesome Critters, and Beasts from the Dark Side, in which a witness called Dave tells of a frightening encounter within the tunnel. The witness says that he had gone to the tunnel to investigate the reports and take some photos, and when he was about 40 feet in, he had seen the glowing yellow eyes of the creature himself, remarking that no normal animal's eyes shone like that. The eyes apparently belonged to an indistinct, massive, shadowy figure standing out in the dim murk that was reported just as standing at least 9 feet tall. And of course, very scared, Dave fled back to his truck in a panic. And as soon as he got in, he claims to have heard a loud metallic bang from the tunnel entrance, which was enough to send him roaring away in his vehicle. A few days later, Dave went back to the site with some other people who were curious as to what he had seen, and they would also see the yellow eyes peering from the darkness. None of them would ever go back. So what do you think it was? Was it a reptilian humanoid? A ghost? Some other supernatural entity? Maybe it was Bigfoot finding shelter. What do you think? Bigfoot reports from that very same area, but the glowing eyes seem to be a remarkable detail. And of course, not all purported tunnel monsters are humanoid. And one of the weirder reports we've come across concerns what appears to have been giant spiders. Oh, great. This is not good. Giant spiders yet. Are you kidding me? And of course, where is this? Tokyo, Japan. They have Godzilla, so I suppose they have giant spiders too. This is happening under the throbbing metropolis of Tokyo, Japan. Utility workers under the city streets in the 70s supposedly were passing through a tunnel when one of the workers caught his foot on a thick bunch of what seemed to be spider webs. Shining his flashlight about, he caught in its beams the side of a massive web stretched out over the ground, and it was peppered with the skeletons and desiccated corpses of rats and cockroaches. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Within this mass of webbing, which spanned several square meters, was found to be a funnel-like opening measuring approximately 10 inches in diameter. Although there was no sign of its occupant, thank God, the workers left and would later speculate that this must have been the lair of some enormous funnel web spider. But considering the size of the opening, it would have been far larger than any currently known to exist. Yeah, I know, right? Good old Tokyo, Japan. You know, home of Godzilla. Now they have giant spiders. Of course, they have Mothra, so there you go. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome, Mike. I'm not going under the tunnels in Tokyo, Japan anytime soon, I'll tell you that much. Good Lord. Yeah, we need... of course, we've all heard of the huge rats and stuff in New York, but giant spiders, yeah, no thanks. I'll pass. Excuse me. Yeah, no, not for me. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Only in Tokyo, right? And also, again from Tokyo, from the dank subterranean tunnels of Tokyo, are the reports of the outsized rats, far larger than normal, and here we go. And there was an article in Mysterious Universe where it was said of these giant rats, and I quote, "Like many large cities, Tokyo is infested with rats. They are everywhere." Oh, great. Why don't those giant spiders, eat them then? Above and beyond the usual vermin, there have been accounts throughout the years from under the neon-lit streets of Tokyo that speak of rats far larger than normal. Sporadic accounts from sewer workers and others working underground have described the rats are the size of dogs lurking in this dark netherworld of tunnels under the city. One such account was told by a tunnel worker who described seeing something rummaging through a pile of refuse. The worker took the creature to be a cat and could not figure out why a cat would be down there. He went closer to investigate, and that was when the thing turned to him and revealed itself to be a very large cat-sized rat. Peachy, they can have them. The worker described how it showed no fear as it sniffed the air and leisurely just sauntered off into the darkness. And another report describes a group of workers doing routine maintenance work. When they shone a light on a rat, they explained as being as big as a medium-sized dog. Dear God. The startled workers shouted out in surprise, and the creature, just leisurely walked away. One of the workers had the feeling the thing was injured because it seemed to limp. Other reports have similarly described rats the size of cats or dogs, roaming sewer systems and unused subway tunnels. And of course, the theories spawn from genetic mutations caused by chemicals or radiation. We're in Tokyo, of course, right? One rat expert said since their growth plates don't fuse properly, even common black rats have the potential to grow to frighteningly large proportions if they live long enough and have access enough to resources. How big could these things get? Giant spiders and giant rats in Tokyo. I'd call Mothra or Godzilla to get rid of them. Thank you very much. Nope, not going. Nope, hell no. That's a hell no to me. There are plenty deeply and strange and disturbing things said to inhabit the dark places of our world, hiding from the light and remaining out just past the periphery of the explained. When reading such reports, tunnels become even scarier than they already are. Shadow worlds where monsters lurk and where we are perhaps not meant to go. Although we will never likely know just how many of these cases are out or how much, truth is in them, we can all probably agree that dark, lonely tunnels are creepy and that all these accounts may make one thing twice about stepping into one. Definitely me. I'm not going into Japan sewer system. Thank you very much. Ever, ever, ever. Paris catacombs, yes, but not definitely not Tokyo. But like I said, they need to call Godzilla out on that, right? Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Ike, I have this experimental music. I hope you guys like it. We'll see. And this one is called Dream of the Insomniac. And welcome back to KBLP and Encounters of the Strange Kind. Oh, thanks, Tina. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ike. Thanks, guys. So, what do you think of reptilian humanoids? Rising reptilian aliens, to be exact. Um, I don't know. The Lizard Man, how about that? Yep, the place to be tonight. Um, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think of the human things here? Rising reptilian aliens. Um, and of course, millions of people, believe it or not, 12 million people believe lizard people run our country. Okay, sounds like shades of V. Remember the series V? Sounds like that. Kind of crazy. The alien world order, how the reptilian plan to divide and conquer. I don't know. Um, that's kind of getting into the alien thing. I don't know. Um, Kind of a list of reptilian humanoids. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. They go back as far as mythology, of course. Uh, the Enchanted Moura from Portuguese. Snakes with long blonde hair. Oh, yeah, no, thank you. Um, the Lizard Man of Ore Swamp in South Carolina. This is said to inhabit the swampland of the region, down back in there. Um, and a late 1980s sighting yielded a significant amount of newspaper, radio, and television publicity. Um, Crazy, crazy. Swamp monsters. We're going to have to get into that maybe next time. But they're saying reptilians, Dracos, and amphibians. Uh, I don't know. It goes back as far as there's a rich history behind these reptilians appearing alien. Um, Back to Sumeria, Assyrian, and Babylonian culture, if you can believe that. Uh, I mean, these stories go back way. So again, we always say, what is the truth behind these? Of course, right? So that's going to be another story as far as that goes. Some of the more underground monsters. Now, this is a new show that was on the Discovery Channel, I believe it was. And there's the Cross Creek Cavern Draco. Cross Creek Cavern Draco. And it's a vicious hybrid of human and lizard, and allegedly haunts the dark waters of the Northern California river cave. So check out these episodes. You can catch them on YouTube. Underground Monsters. There's a group of guys that go exploring these. It's another, but they're into the caverns. Is there a Draco down there? Which is basically it's a name for dragon. Lives beneath the surface of the dark waters. And they go exploring these places. But this is about the Draco down in there. Yes, it is Destination America. So check it out. They believe that the Draco lives under there. It's in Northern California, and it's called Cross Creek Cavern. So check it out. There's another thing going on. There's some sightings about Bigfoot evidence, monsters underground returns to Bigfoot. So we shall see what we shall see. There's the Apache Death Cave. Have you heard of that? The Apache Death Cave? We'll talk about that a little bit. And that's kind of a haunted site also. It's a site of a massacre. It's in Two Guns, Arizona, and the Apache Death Cave, the site of an infamous Native American massacre. Aswang is the name of the legendary shape-shifting vampire creature, part dog, part human. This is in Apache Death Cave, is in Two Guns, Arizona, near Winslow. Excuse me, goodness. And it's also says to be haunted because it's a haunting mass grave. And the story behind this is in 1878, a group of Apache raiders attacked a Navajo encampment near Little Colorado River. Almost every Navajo man, woman, and child was killed in the raid. When the Apache finished looting the encampment, only 3 girls remained, and they were swiftly taken prisoner. When the Navajo leaders got word of this attack, they sent out 25 men to avenge the fallen encampment. They employed their usual strategies, tracking the Apache across the land and blocking the borders. However, their efforts failed and the trails went cold, disappearing into the river and volcanic cinder. News arrived that another nearby Navajo encampment had been raided, which meant the Apache were still in the area. Scouts were deployed again, 2 of which were sent to check the short arm of Canyon Diablo. The scouts found nothing until they were startled by a blast of hot air coming from underneath the ground. Upon further investigation, the scouts discovered that the hot air was coming from an Apache campfire in an underground cavern. In an underground cavern beneath them, large enough to house both the Apache raiding party and their horses. So this cavern was huge. The scouts returned with news of the discovery, and the Navajo came back with a vengeance. After they killed the 2 unsuspecting watchmen at the mouth of the cave, they gathered up the dry sagebrush and driftwood on the canyon floor, and they started a fire at the entrance of the cave. Now aware of the attack as smoke billowed into their hideaway, the Apaches slit the throats of their horses and used what was left of the water to put out the flames, doing their best to seal off the entrance with the corpses of their horses. Oh, that's disgusting. A lone Apache man escaped from the fiery barrier and begged for mercy. The Navajo, per tradition, proposed a customary payment of goods and stock in exchange for forgiveness. The spokesman agreed, and it seemed that the Apache's life would be saved. However, when the Navajo asked about the 3 girls they had taken prisoner, the Apache spokesman hesitated, which confirmed the Navajo's worst fears. The girls had already met their end. Enraged, the Navajo shot their guns into the cave and added more fuel to the fire. It wasn't long until smoke and the sound of Apache singing their death songs filled the air. When the songs faded and the smoke cleared, the Navajo broke through the charred horse corpse barrier. They retrieved their goods and stripped off the valuables of the 42 Apaches that suffocated inside. From that point on, no Apache has used that cave for any reason, and they would never again raid the Navajo people. Local tribes would warn the pioneers about the cave, saying that the land around it was cursed. The pioneers who lived there would later report hearing disembodied groans, ghostly footsteps, and the horrendous stories of the massacre at the cave. So there you go. And supposedly, the Aswang lives there. I believe it's called, Aswang. And there's actually a movie about it called Aswang too, by the way. Just to let you know. It's a what an Aswang is. It is a shape-shifting, evil spirit, usually possessing some combination of the traits of vampire, a ghoul, a warlock, or different species of werebeast. It is a variety of stories Spanish columnists. The aswang was the most feared among the creatures of the Philippines, even in the 16th century. And the wide variety of descriptions, it's settled upon that they're shapeshifters. So they are shapeshifters. But this one apparently at the Apache Death Cave is a vampire, shape-shifting vampire creature. So there you go. They love to eat. I don't know. I'm not even going there to what they like to eat. But they also like livers and hearts. I don't even want to go with what they're going after. They can live as regular as town people that are quiet, shy, and elusive. At night, they transform into creatures such as bat bird, usually a crow, wild boar, or a big black dog, the hounds of hell, right? And what they love to eat, you can look that up yourself. Some are so thin they can hide themselves behind a bamboo post. They are fast and silent. Some also make noises like the tick-tick. The noise, and that name was derived from the noise it produces. What it does, and they're louder the farther away the aswang is, and it confuses its potential victims. They may also replace their live victims with stolen cadavers with doppelgangers made from tree trunks or other plant materials. The facsimile will return to the victim's home only to become extremely sick and die. And a aswang will also have bloodshot eyes, a result of staying up all night, searching for houses where wakes are held to steal the bodies. Aswangs are physically much more like humans at daytime. They only change their appearance at night when they feel they are hungry. If an aswang married a human upon their wedding, his or her mate will become an aswang as well. Yeah, interesting, right? The couple may hunt together at night, but will most often go in separate directions to avoid quick detection, and possibly because they don't like to share the same food. Well, la-da-dee-da, good for them. It's crazy. There is also, check out Underground Monsters, seriously. It's pretty good. They have some good stuff. And there's called the Shadow Mine Subteralien. Do you know what a subteralien is? This is the first time I have heard what a subteralien is. Do you know that, Ike? A subteralien. In Calaveras County in California, there's a shadow mine. And these guys go there to hunt the subteralien creature that might be more sophisticated than any they have hunted before. And it could be armed and hostile. I don't know. I've never heard of them. This is the first time. Now, aswang. That's a vampire thing, that dude right here. You've heard of, the shape-shifting. That's the name that they call it. It derived from the Philippines. It's a shadow mine in California. Let me see. There wasn't a whole lot of info on it. To tell you the truth. Actually, it's called Shadow Mountain Mine, but you can call it the Shadow Mine Subteralien. It's Calaveras County, California. But the subteraliens, there's not much on them that I could really fine. So I'm going to have to do some. Yeah, I know, right? Um, but there's no real info on the subterranean. So I'm going to have to do some more research, and we'll get into that one maybe with the alien show. How about the Grand Canyon Rake? That's an interesting one. They go there also, or going there. The Grand Canyon Rake creatures. This is in Reach Springs, Arizona. It's a cave called the Grand Canyon Caverns. They discover a section that was unexplored, but is now could be hiding a murderous creature known as the Rake. So that's another one. Rather interesting. We'll get on to what a rake. Which one? Subteraliens. S-U-B-T. All one word. Like that. Subteraliens. That's exactly how it's spelled. The rake is a creature believed to be a humanoid in appearance, with several references in horrific urban legends. It originally appeared in creepypasta, actually. And the creature reportedly attacks humans and often causes its victims great psychological trauma. Several theories as to the first development of the rake. The creature, like I said, they reportedly attack humans. The rake has been tied to alternate figures such as Slender Man, that they reference an unnaturally tall and skinny man mysteriously lurking in the woods. The rake could possibly be a proxy of Slender Man, subject to its own self-mutilation and disorders. The humanoid life form was never detected to be mammalian nor reptilian. It clearly exhibits how the creature, let's see, they talk about protozoa. The protozoa feeds on the host until it is matured fully into a rake. Okay, it's a propagation of its species entirely dependent on a living human being. The rake must nourish itself like Nosferatu, so there you go. A living vampire-like creature who needs the sustenance of meat and blood, not only human, but animals as well. So that is a rake. Interesting. Actually, a first account of the rake existence was in 1691, so they have been around a long time as well. They identified the rake as name, and this was in a mariner's log. It described the rake as having hollow black eyes and being terrifying in nature. Now, in 1964, a suicide note was written in which the author claims to have committed suicide due to repeated encounters with the rake, in fear the creature will torment him horribly. And currently, the most complete tale of the rake was written in 2006. It begins with her waking her husband up early in the morning. As she sat up, she saw what seemed to be a naked, incredibly pale man at the foot of the bed and gasped. It could have even looked like a naked, a hairless dog. The husband curled up when he saw the figure. After a few moments, in one fast motion, the rake scurried to the husband's side of the bed and stared at him. And seconds later, the creature ran into the children's room. It fled covered in blood, as the wife states, when the couple approached the room, leaving the mangled body of their daughter, whose last words, "He is the rake." And while the husband rushed the daughter to the hospital, he accidentally drove into Nearline Lake and drowned with his daughter. Several months after this horrible event, the woman began researching the creature identified as the rake. She noticed the pattern of repeated visits in the reports she read. She began digitally recording her room each night and listening to the tapes during the day. At the start of the third week, she heard the first signs of a visit from in the form of a shrill voice of the rake. She knew the sound. She couldn't listen to it long enough to transcribe it. The woman was later found dead on her floor. Another encounter with the rake was in 2017. 3 girls sighted it inside a wood right next to their neighborhood in Austin, Texas. One of the girls thought it was a cloaked man hunched over. The same girl's eyes turned pure black after this encounter. Another girl thought it might have been a Wendigo, and the last girl thought it was a bush. Later, one of the girls found a video that had rake footage, and she showed it, and they realized what they saw was a rake. So there you go. That is a rake. So there's plenty of places in the U.S. to check out these creatures, so to speak. What are they? We may never know. I hope never to encounter one of these. And the last one is in Flagstaff, Arizona, in the volcanic caverns. And they go there, and they believe a great deadly reptilian bat creature known as Alitiao, or cave demon. Cave demon, I'll go with that because I'm not going to be pronouncing that. And this is in Flagstaff. Yes. Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah, they do. They also call it lava tubes, I guess. Lava river cave. And the creature known as a cave demon. Okay. Olitiao. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. I will spell it here. Olitiau. That's not even close. Olit. There it is. That is the correct name, or cave demon. It's actually, it's a gigantic cryptid bat to have started in Central Africa. That name comes from a fusion of 2 words, a name for ceremonial dance masks used to represent demons. They are said to have 6 to 12 foot wingspans. Their body is allegedly black, though their wings have been described as either dark brown or red. Their lower jaws are said to contain 2-inch long serrated teeth with equal spacing between the between each tooth. And of course, Gerald Russell, while hunting hammerhead fruited bats in southern Cameroon, Sanderson, we talked about him earlier, claimed that a cave demon, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. He called it the granddaddy of all bats. In Lost Tapes, one of the shows, Lost Tapes, it was entitled Cave Demons. Check it out. It was known as the giant bat. Curiously, it's described as coming from the Tora Bora caves in Afghanistan. So, check that out. So, that is the story. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course, I totally agree. I think some of these things do exist. Um, Check the cave demons out on lost tapes. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Um, Geez, Corporal Latrell Wade is attacked in the lost tapes with this, and partially decapitated by an unknown flying creature. The other corporal, Derek Sawyer's death is unknown, and it's possible the creatures themselves were killed as well. Cave demons they're bat-like creatures that have been known to terrorize their enemies when they are disturbed. According to the lost tapes, they're described as having black or gray fur, a monkey-like face, and clawed feet, and 10 to 15-foot wingspan. In Brazil, they are called bat people. In Mexico, in ancient Mayan, they were called the death bat. In Vietnam, they are known as night flyers. And these winged humanoids are generally 5 feet tall with eerie feminine features. They swoop down on their victims and terrorize them. The continent of Africa has reported many sightings of these. An immense vast creature that was seen by, of course, the naturalist cryptozoologist Sanderson. In Senegal, the creature is called Guarafero. And of course, the creatures are said to roost in volcano-type areas. I don't know. I've never seen lost tapes. I've never seen it. I've never seen the show. So I have no idea. But it goes along with when I was doing the Strange Encounters and Bizarre Tunnel Dwelling Monsters. No, I've never seen the show. It probably is. I really don't know. Supposedly there's 2 kills in the lost tapes. 2 corporals. So, I don't know. That's okay. I knew who you were. I wasn't talking to myself, I don't think. That's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen the show myself. I've never seen the lost tapes. So, but it seems like around every dark corner there's, mysterious and bizarre creatures are around every dark corner and in the deep bodies of murky water, of course. They appear in abandoned buildings, colossal tracts of desolate land, spooky swamps, and the vastness of our underground cave systems. This is the latest unknown creature to be spotlighted for discussion, the cave demon. The lost tapes, they were on Animal Planet. I didn't know that. It was all about these mysterious winged beings. So there was that guy Sanderson, and we talked about him earlier. So when they were entering the cave, the entire exploring party were swooped down by giant bat-like beings. And Ivan Sanderson, his exact words were black as coal with membranous wings and long, sharp teeth. The natives in Cameroon refer to the creature, and I can't pronounce it, I'm not going to. Terrifying to look upon, long, wild, disheveled hair around the head, much like a mane. So that's that. Closely resembling, the wings are massive, 10 to 15 feet wide. The body of the fearsome creature stands about the size of a human. Are sharp, and the teeth, which can be clearly seen, are razor-sharp pointed daggers. About as tall as I am. Almost, yeah. Thank you, Ike. Kind of like one, but not quite. Not quite the Mothman, which way back we discussed him a while ago. And throughout our history, you'll find evidence of these giant bat people creatures, as far back as the Mayan civilization. So this thing is everywhere. It's not just, in the volcanic caverns. This is from all over. So that kind of there. I'm going to talk about one more thing. Maybe a couple, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight. Again, happy anniversary, KBLT. Nice, Michelle. And this is about the Siberian drilling. Of course, in Siberia, which we all want to go to, right? Not. So, hang on just a second here while I get it. And I don't know if you've heard of the Siberian, the Hole to Hell. Have you guys heard of that? Tori brought it to my attention. Thank you. So I added it. Yeah, happy birthday to, happy anniversary to us. Reminds me of the Flintstones. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Oh, God. Remember that on the Flintstones? I don't know. Yes, 2 years. Holy cow. Who'd have thought? Yep. Who'd have thought? Gosh darn it. The Well to Hell. Terry brought this up because I hadn't heard of this one. So let's check it out. Some scientists went to Siberia. They were drilling. Yeah, did you? Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. I always thought that one was hilarious. I like that episode. That one was great. Hey, run in with the piano. I'm not going to do that, but hey. So the Well to Hell. You have heard of that. Michelle, what haven't you heard of? I have not heard of this. And it's about scientists up in Siberia that they heard the noise. You can go on YouTube and hear the noises from the well. Borehole in Russia, which was supposedly drilled so deep it broke through into hell. The legend has been circulating the internet since '95. It was, and it holds that a team of Russian engineers, led by individual, I'm not even, Azakov, in Siberia, drilled a hole that was 14.4 kilometers, 8.9 miles deep, before breaking through a cavity. Intrigued by this unexpected discovery, they lowered extremely heat-tolerant microphone, along with sensory equipment, into the well. Yeah. But it's cool information. But very cool information, hon. Anyway, the temperature deep within was 1,000 degrees Celsius, which is 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat from a chamber of fire from Supposedly, tormented screams of the damned could be heard. Um, Sometimes it was sounded like the soundtrack of the 1972 movie Bear and Blood. I don't know. The Soviet Union did in fact, drilled a hole more than 7.5 miles deep. Uh, upon reaching the depth of 40,230 feet on the border of Norway and Finland in 1989, some interesting geological anomalies were found. Temperatures that reached 600 degrees Fahrenheit, um, which, of course, makes deeper drilling very expensive. Um, Interesting. I don't know. Apparently, you can go to YouTube and The Sounds from Hell. I think that's what it's called. So, check it out. You can hear it. See what you think. And there's a movie based on this, on the Well to Hell. 9 Miles Down is the movie, which I didn't know. I'm writing it in. It's a movie based on this. So check that out. I probably will. So 9 Miles Down. It started in the early 1990s. A Russian scientist in Siberia had drilled so deep that they had broken into hell and recorded the screams of the damned emanating from the borehole. So check it out. Let's see. Adrian Paul is in here. So, might be interesting. Not sure. So check it out. 9 Miles Down. It's a movie that's based on this. So, there you go. One more thing tonight before we wrap it up. 10 of the lesser-known monsters and cryptids, so which we may be talking about in the future. So something, to look out for. Cryptids. What an interesting name they came up with, I think. Cryptids. Did anybody see that movie? Okay. These are 10 of the lesser known U.S. monsters and cryptids. You've likely heard of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. And, of course, blood-sucking chupacabras and West Virginia's Mothman. But there are numerous other creepy creatures and mythical monsters throughout the world that cryptozoologists are eager to find. In Florida, what the hell is that? Anyway, it's a large hairy bipedal mammal is said to inhabit the southern U.S., but most often spotted in Florida. It gets its name from its an unpleasant odor, which is said to be similar to rotten eggs or methane. Me either. I have not seen it. Reports of the creature are most common in the 60s and 70s. Sightings continue today, but the most famous one took place in the year 2000. The year 2000, guys. 2 photographs of an animal alleged to be the skunk ape were mailed to the Sarasota Sheriff's Department. She said that the cryptid had entered a yard for 3 nights and taken apples. She was convinced the animal was an escaped orangutan, but not true. It's supposed to be a skunk ape. The creature might be part of the same species as Bigfoot. How about the Tahoe Tessie? Swamp ape. Anyway, Tahoe Tessie. This is in California, Nevada. And we'll get into these later. I'm just going through some of the lesser known ones. This is an aquatic creature in Lake Tahoe. Back to the members of the Washoe tribes in the mid-19th century, who said the cryptid lived in an underwater tunnel beneath cave rock. The sightings continue today with witnesses describing the creatures between up to 80 feet long. I'm just going to go through them real quick. There's a human-goat hybrid that has a deformed human torso, goat legs, and a horned head. It's sent to haunt the railway trestle over Popelet Creek in Kentucky. Numerous urban legends exist about the creature's origins. So we'll be going into that. How about the Ozark Howler? Large black cat with horns and glowing eyes, and gets its name from the loud, eerie howl it emits throughout the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. The Iliamna Lake Monster. We touched on this when I did ocean creatures, I think. Remember, we were talking about aliens and the underwater aliens, USOs. Remember? The Iliamna Lake Monster. This is in Alaska. Reports of the cryptid have been around since the indigenous people lived on the shore of Alaska's Iliamna Lake. But it wasn't brought into the public eye until the 40s. So we're going to be getting into some of these creatures later on. The Altamaha, Georgia. It's an aquatic creature. Snake-like animal swimming in the waters of Georgia's Altamaha River. Altamaha River. Thank you. That date back to the 18th century. And of course, basically the Jersey Devil, of course. They love now this is one from Ohio that I had. Yeah. Loveland Frog. It's a humanoid creature with the face of a frog. Well, of course, why not? Loveland, Ohio in 1955. Several creatures, actually. Chessie, Maryland and Virginia, another sea monster. So these are some of the 10 lesser known monsters and cryptids, and we're going to be getting into that. Later on I'll be doing shows on that. So there's plenty of strange things out there. So again, happy anniversary, guys. Yay! 2 years young. That's what we are. So WTF was on today. Yeah, way to go, Michelle. Love it, love it. And of course, I think Ike is going to be on after me and Lolita's Jam. Yeah, they did. That's the Loveland Frog from Loveland, Ohio. So we'll be getting into more of some of these creatures later on in the future podcast. So, yeah. So way to go, Michelle. Make sure you guys check out WTF. She usually does it on Tuesdays, but today, what is today? Thursday, but she did it today, but way to go. Love it. That's such a great thing. She's so awesome with that. So check that out, guys. Very welcome, Michelle. Very welcome. She just goes on and it's so awesome. And thank you. I don't know if you heard that at the beginning of the show. I thanked you for, I checked out that archive of, experimental music, and I'm playing that tonight. A lot of the music from there. So let me know what you think. Anyway, let's see. So Ike, Stephen, Michelle, Chris, Sonia, Gary, Desiree, everybody. Yes. Yay, Stephen. Congrats on your son, on his enlistment. I know it's going to be tough, but be very, very proud of him. That's so excellent. Nothing but the best for him. Good luck and stay safe, okay? Yes. Yeah, he probably got busy. It's okay. Yeah, thank you for enlisting and thank you for your service to his son. So thank you, Stephen. Let's see. What's going on? So I'm sure podcasts. Are you going? Yeah. Are you going on after me, Ike? Hello? I just want to make sure so I can let people know if you're going on. Ike Diaz may be on after this show, which would be in a little bit. And Lolita's Jam, I believe, will be on. So, yay, Lolita. Hip-hop music, some underground stuff, new artists. So check her out for sure. Tori, that is your site to stop by. All day today, podcast from KBLP, celebrating our 2-year anniversary. Tomorrow night, Hollywood Review. And, of course, the new movies. Deadpool 2 is out on DVD. Check it out. I got it, of course. And new movies. What were the top movies? What's coming out on DVDs shortly? Oh, you're going on after Lolita. Okay. Oh, Lolita's first. Lolita's Jam is first. Awesome. So check her out for sure. We'll be talking about DVDs and, of course, September 7th, what comes out. Yeah. The Nun comes out September 7th, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. And then, of course, we got Freaks in the Basement on after Hollywood Review with our own big freak, Chris Stevens. Check it out. He's had some amazing music on. Cherry Pepsi. Ew. No, thank you. Diet Coke. Thank you. Actually, I like Diet Coke with lime if I can find it. So that's my favorite. But anyway, Chris Stevens and his Freaks will be on tomorrow night. Saturday, we'll see. I have to work like 6 straight, so we shall see. Either Saturday or Sunday. I may do a tribute to Aretha Franklin on Sunday. If I can't do it on Saturday, it will be Sunday. I want to do a tribute to the late, great Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul. So, R.I.P. Aretha. And her influence and contributions to music. That'd be a long thing, right? And Ike Diaz will be on Saturday with the Jam, Ike Dog and the Jam, which is a party all night long, people. You need to check it out. Sunday, DWD, hip hop or Aretha. It depends on what goes on. I better think what? I better think. Okay. Monday is sports talk, right? You're going to be on Monday, I think. I better think what? What am I trying to do to you? I don't know. Aretha. Yes, Aretha. Bless her heart, right? What am I doing to you with that? I'm confused. What am I? I'm not trying to do it to you, though. Do you want me to do her, Michelle? I will do her. I know Tori wants to hear it, too, so. May do her Sunday instead of hip-hop. Oh, Freedom, yes. Oh, okay. I got it now. It took me a minute. Sorry. So, I just dropped my phone again. But hopefully we'll get... I'd like to do them both this weekend, but we shall see. I got it right. Oh, stop it. You would. Stop it. It's the words to the song. I got it afterwards. I got it. I'm like, ugh. My mind is full of these weirdo creatures. Sorry. It took me a minute. You guys are so bad. Sports Talk is on Monday, correct? Correctamundo. I do believe with Ike Diaz. I'm not sure who will be on. Gary, of course, I'm sure. Sonia, Cecilia, I'm not sure who will be on. Well, I'll be on at some point, so be sure and check that out. So, make sure you watch Fear The Walking Dead Sunday night, of course, and we'll talk about that next Wednesday. Michelle will be with me. An announcement that for The Walking Dead, after Fear is over, The Walking Dead comes back on. Rick will be a co-host. on that also. He'll do every other Wednesday like Michelle. When Michelle works, he'll be on. So that should break it up for everybody so you're not having to do it all the time. So Ike Diaz, yeah, Rick Moylan, I cannot wait. He did that thing with Daryl at the end of the season. It was freaking hilarious. We'll see what he has to say about it when he comes back. So, good people here, good people. So, thanks for the experimental music thing from the archives there. We're playing it tonight, so let me know what you think. The real Rick. The real Rick, yeah. Yeah, check it out. Desiree will be back in October. Hopefully next month I'll be getting set, talking with the people from the Haunted Hydro here in Fremont, so I can do a live podcast from the Haunted Attraction in October. Lots of cool stuff coming up, guys. Lots of cool stuff. So, and I'm playing a B.O.B. Not this week, but the following week. Oh, yeah, it might be on. We shall see. I got to talk to you, Michelle. It'll be fall planning. Getting ready for winter, canning, what to do, plants, get your real plants in, what you can plant. Yeah, the Haunted Hydro, yeah. It is a very big attraction here. So, and of course you have Halloween nights at Cedar Point here also. So, we shall see. I think I'd rather do the Haunted Hydro. They'll probably charge me for Cedar Point, but anyway. So all this good stuff is coming up. So check it all out. Let me know at KBLP LLC what you want to hear about. Okay, on DWD, Decades with Denise and Encounters. Let me know what you'd like to hear. Okay, shout out to some groups now. Shout out to Planet B period, O period, B period. Great site on Facebook. It's a great page. Prepping, survival tips, anything you want to know, go there. And they are so nice there. You have a question, they'll be happy to answer it. Shout out to Conflicted. That is with Julie Kinney. It's what if scenarios. So check it out. She is such a wonderful, wonderful person. Shout out to Survival Wolves with Mike Ronan. Mike Ronan, what a nice guy. It was such a honor to meet you and talk with you. So check it out, guys. Seriously. Very good pages. Of course, KBLP LLC. That's where you can get all the shows. Give us your suggestions, your comments. So, yeah, she is so awesome. So, check it out. KBLP LLC. You want to hear something? There it is. True Horror Junkies. Basically, that's the horror group I help with. So check it out. Art of Darkness. Welcome, Michelle, to that. Which Tori is, he created the page. So thank you, Tori, for that. Horror Three Ring Circus. The Walking Dead Freak Show. And also KBLP LLC 4 on YouTube. Check it out. So there you go. King Barker and Beyond. Horror Three Ring Circus. Did I forget anybody? I hope not. If I did, I'm sorry. Shout out to you. Yeah. Shout out to Ike, Michelle, and Tori on tonight. And shout out to Gina. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of the music, okay? So I know whether to go back to that or find some other things. Yes, Ike, it's royalty free. It's all good. So that wraps up Underground Monsters for tonight. Check out the episodes on Destination America or on YouTube, The Underground Monsters. Check it out. They're not the best, but hey, there are some really crazy things out there. So be sure to check out all the podcasts. Again, happy anniversary to us. So there we go. Okay. Yeah. You're very welcome. Anytime. That's what I'm here for. I know. I'm not going to Tokyo anytime soon. That's for sure. Yeah. Nope. Hell no. Yeah, they got giant spiders there, along with, Godzilla. I'd like to see Godzilla, but giant spiders and giant rats. Thank you. No. Yeah, anytime. Thanks, Tori, for bringing up that Well to Hell. So thanks for the music again, Michelle. We'll see how you guys like it. Listen to it. Let me know. Okay, going to say good night. Have a great night, everybody. Peace out, y'all. I did have an update for you on the missing 411, which we talked about one week, disappearances. I had an update on that. There was an article. Thanks to Jim Maillard. He's a paranormal researcher and radio host for his contribution to this article. And it states, since 1752, thousands of visitors 2 national parks and forests in the western U.S. and Canada have disappeared. Sometimes they return, most times they don't. What makes these disappearances strange is the fact that once they happen, mum's the word. Beyond the 7 to 10 day investigation window and period of grief, no one talks about it. Strange weather patterns erupt after someone goes missing, as if the earth is covering up the trail. Canines can't even pick up the scent with their highly trained noses. Park rangers and service staffs are reluctant to speak up. It is part of their code of conduct, or are they too afraid to say what they're really thinking? And who is disappearing? Highly intellectual types, while others have been children. Krost, a 62-year-old German physics professor, a highly skilled mountaineer who's vanished in Lake Arrowhead. Then there's Jared, a tiny 3-year-old who went missing from a trail in northern Colorado. His shoes turned up later, laces tied and all, but Jared didn't. And he did know how to tie his shoes when he went missing. Those who, based on some of the theories, those who want these people may be tapping them for information. Some theories about this are, so what's happening? Are strange beings lurking in the caves waiting to snatch these people? Alternate portals of reality in plain sight, just waiting for people to pass through? David Paulides, author of the series Missing 411, is determined to find the answers. He recently appeared on Beyond Belief with George Noory, which is an original program where he presented first-hand accounts of the investigative journalism he's been working on to determine the source of these vanishings. Noory probes Paulides for the possible answers by keeping an open mind about who or what could be taking these citizens out of mainstream society. He throws out ideas like U.S. soldiers conducting secret studies, reptilians, ultra-terrestrials, alien connections, and of course, myths like fairies and little people, gods who are fulfilling their destiny. So many speculations, but no answers. And they're searching for the answers. And the more Paulides digs into the data, the stranger it gets. Those abducted people appear to be either first or last in line when traipsing through the parks and forests. The vanishings are unusual, don't fit the norm. There's no scent trail, no footprints, no evidence of animal attacks. Those who are found alive appear to have some type of disability. They could exhibit signs of dementia or muteness, making it harder for them to share their story, yet also giving them a better chance of making it through and back to civilization. Professional trackers are hired to survey the land where they have gone missing. These include Navajo Indians who are native to the land and know it well, military-trained personnel, canines, and other experts who are trained to find what others might miss. So, keep an open mind as you watch Missing 411 on Beyond Belief with George Noory. There may be more than one answer, and they're willing to ask the tough questions. So, check it out if you can, okay? I almost forgot about giving you that update of what's going on. Creepy, isn't it? That's just plain insane. So I'll be, as I get the info, I will send, give it to you. So thanks again for listening. Peace out, y'all.